Hi everyone, this is Smriti. Welcome to QA automation classes. So let's start the today's session. So our glue code or the step definition part is done. So let's go to the API class package and we can define a class, right? For each endpoint and the corresponding HTTP methods related to that API. Okay, this is just like our page classes in the UI framework. Okay, so like this is the posts, right? So if you see, right, we are defining the feature file related to one endpoint. Okay, so the endpoint is the post now, right? User post is the endpoint. Okay, so for that user post, we have the get, we have post, we have delete, we have the patch, we have update. Okay, all those methods are available if you see here, right? So get, put, post, patch, delete, right? Everything is available. So those all we can design one scenario over here, right? So now all those operations, right? So all those operations we can define inside a API class. Okay, so let's create a Java class over here. Right click, new Java class. Okay, so for the Java class we can give some name, right? We can say post, user posts. Okay, let's say user posts. Okay, let's say user posts. Okay, what happened? Sorry, USTS, user posts. Okay, so now the user post class got created. Okay, so now in the user post class, okay, so what we need to do? So first thing is we have to let's see, from here only we can understand it. So first what we need to do, we need to set the API endpoint with the resource. Okay, so how to set the API endpoint, right? So the endpoint, we can have one thing like the base URI, right? So whatever the base URI is there, we can keep this base URI constant because this is never going to change. So these things are resources are going to change. Today I'm hitting the posts, so this in this feature file I'm saying slash post as the resource. Maybe tomorrow if I want to hit them delete call, right? So what will be the endpoint? See, so slash post slash 28, I'm going to hit it with the delete method, right? So similarly, this is, I think everything here is related to same post. Let's say there are some others are also there, right? So let's go and see here. So comments, if I want to go and do some operation on the comments endpoint, so I have to say slash comments, right? So this is one another resource. So localhost 3000 is remains same, right? This is the base URI, it is constant, it is not going to change for the entire application. So only things resources are going to change. So slash posts, okay, so this is one of the resource for post resource. Similarly, slash comments is another resource, right? Similarly, slash profile is another resource, right? Similarly, slash errors is another resource. Okay, so four resources are there. So what we'll do, we'll try to keep the base URI and we'll try to in a properties file, and then we'll try to read it like how you have kept your browser info, not browser, the application URL, right? So similarly we can have one config.properties. Okay, so let's create one config.properties inside resources. Okay, new file. Okay, say config.properties. Okay, so now we have our config.properties file. Okay, so in the config.properties file, what we are going to say, so we'll say base URI. Okay, so let's say base URI equals to, so you will say that localhost colon 3000. Okay, so that will be our base URI. Okay, so http colon double slash localhost, let's copy from here. Okay, Control C, base URI equals to this one. Okay, fine. So if you see one thing, okay, so base URI is this much. We don't have to give the slash here, we'll append it when we're constructing the complete endpoint. Okay, so just give the base URI up to that localhost. Okay, localhost colon 3000 and the port. Okay, so this is what we have given, and here if you go to the user post, here we have to go and read this value, right? So for reading the value from the properties file, what we need the properties, right? So let's define then. Okay, so let's say private, so properties, so I'll say prop. Okay, and obviously we are accessing the base URL, so let's create one more private string. let's say base URI. Okay, base URI. Okay, so properties I can import. Okay, java.util.properties private string base URI. Okay, so after that what we need, we will be constructing the endpoint, right? So private string, let's say endpoint. Okay, endpoint, private string endpoint, and then we'll have the verify the status code also, right? So we'll verify status code, we'll verify the response also, right? So let's have them also. Private, I'll say response. Okay, so this response is coming from your rest assured response. Okay, so if you see io.restassured.response. Okay, so this is what we need to use, io.restassured.response. Okay, io.restassured.response. Okay, so let's say response, I'll say give response. Okay, and one more, verify the status code, right? So private int, let's say status code. Okay, if we need something else, we'll see during designing, writing the classes, methods we can see. Okay, so these many I can anticipate, like this many we need, so I have designed all of them now. And then now let's go to the methods. Okay, so first thing is what, set the endpoint, right? So we are going to set the endpoint. So let's say from the glue code. Okay, so the glue code is user sets the API endpoint with resource. Okay, so let's say set the post endpoint. Okay, so how to define, let's say public void. Okay, so set, okay, user post, say user post endpoint. Okay, user post endpoint, and here if you see, we are already getting that resource, right? So we have to capture it here also, right? So string, you say the resource. Okay, so we are capturing the string resource over here. Okay, so after that what we are going to do, we have to, let's try that property related things, right? So let's say prop equals to new properties. Okay, so in the properties, so prop dot load, right? Prop dot load. So what to load? So what is the class name? User post dot class. Okay, properties dot load dot class. Okay, user posts dot class dot get class loader. Okay, so get class loader. Okay, dot get resource as stream, right? So get resource as stream, and what is the thing you are going to do? So this is config dot properties, right? So within the double quote mention that one. So config dot properties. Okay, so we have loaded, but it will show like error, because we have to keep it under the try catch. Okay, it is going to give the IO exception, add exception to method signature, but instead of that I would love to do the surround with try catch. Okay, so now this is done. So after this what we are going to do, so we have to read the property value, right? What is the property value? We have to get the base URI, right? So let's say base URI, or did I like write like this, so small? Okay, so base URI. Okay, so let's say base URI. Okay, so base URI equals to, so how we'll load this one? So we'll property dot get property, right? So prop, we have prop, right? So prop dot get property. So what is the sorry, prop dot get property, get property. Okay, and what is the key? So key, if you see our config dot properties, that is nothing but base URI. Okay, we are giving the same name both the places. Okay, so that is fine. So within the double quote put that one. Okay, and give the semicolon. Okay, so base URI we have captured. Okay, so now what is our what do you mean by base URI? So base URI is nothing but we have captured up to the localhost colon 3000, right? But after that let's go here. So we have captured till here, right? But after that we have to construct the entire URL, right? So how can we construct the entire URL? We have to give the resource information also. So slash then posts, right? So let's construct the endpoint. Okay, so here I can just say s out. Okay, so let's print. Okay, so let's say base URI. Okay, so plus just say plus base URI. Okay, so it will print the base URI. Okay, so now we have to construct the endpoint. Okay, so let's say I have already defined endpoint over here. Okay, copy this one. Okay, so now what will be the endpoint? Endpoint equals to, we'll say base URI, right? So along with the base URI plus, okay, base URI plus, so we'll append the, what we are going to append, we are going to append a slash. Okay, so give the forward slash and, sorry, not here, go up. Okay, within the double quote slash. Okay, so base URI plus slash. Okay, after the slash what we need to do, we need to add the resource, right? So what is the resource? So add resource. Okay, so if you see, this resource is the this one, whichever is passed from your step definition, right? And this is nothing but the posts, right? What is passed from your feature file, right? So now let's give the semicolon. Okay, so now what we did here, we constructed the endpoint. Okay, so let's say s out. So endpoint, instead of endpoint, let's say user post endpoint. Okay, user post. Okay, user post endpoint. Okay, user post endpoint. Okay, and here we will give plus endpoint. Okay, so now I am giving the endpoint over here. Fine, so we can print the base URI here and we can print the endpoint. Okay, so now what else we can do here? So this is the first step is done, right? And now we're going to hit the endpoint. Okay, so let's define the next method. Okay, so if you see, this method is done here. So let's say public void hit endpoint. Okay, so public void hit endpoint. So hit endpoint with get. Okay, let's say with the get method. Hit endpoint with get method. Okay, so be specific, guys, whenever you are designing, right? So we are going to hit the endpoint with the get method. So how to hit the endpoint? So if you know, in the rest assured you say given. Okay, so dot, so this given is nothing but it will come from your rest assured. Okay, so import static method io dot rest assured dot given, right? This is what we were going to import it. Okay, so if you don't import it, is not gonna work. Okay, so statically you have to import it. Okay, so let's import this one. Okay, so here, what is the import area? Okay, so import static io dot rest assured dot given, it is added there. Okay, so given dot. Okay, so what we are going to say, so we'll say given dot log. Okay, so log means it is going to log whatever is happening. Okay, so log, and then we are going to say let's log all. Okay, so everything it is going to log, and dot. Okay, I'm going to hit it through the get method. Okay, so get, and within the parenthesis we have to pass the endpoint, right? Where exactly we are trying to hit, we are trying to hit the endpoint. Okay, so now this is what we are going to do. We are going to hit the endpoint. Let's say given dot log dot all dot get endpoint. Okay, but this is what nothing but this is we are hitting. After hitting, we'll get the response, right? And we have to store that response. Where exactly we'll store the response? If you see, I have defined the private response. Okay, this is nothing but your io dot rest assured dot response. It is coming from your io dot rest assured response. So what we'll do, so we'll use this response object to capture the response. Why? Because from the response we can retrieve the few things. Okay, so if you want to retrieve few things, you can use the response, like response dot get status code. You can retrieve from response you can retrieve any value, any node value, any particular value you want to verify, right? So if you want to see responses in proper format, those things we can do with the help of the response. Okay, so that's why we're capturing it in the response. Okay, otherwise if you want to do the assertion and all in the single line also you can do, but we want to have more control over the response object. Okay, so that's why we're just mentioning and storing it inside a response object. Okay, so now after this what we are going to do, so if you go to the my feature file, so first is done, user sets the API endpoint with the resource. We have already designed a method for that, and user hits the endpoint with get method. This is also done. Now then API should return the valid status code in response. So this is nothing but your assertion part. These two methods we have to design. So let's go and here start designing user post.java, right? Okay, so now the third method, right? So third method, let's say public void, so verify response status code. Let's say verify response, sorry, status response status code, verify response status code. Okay, so how to verify this one, response status code? So here we need two things. So whenever there is a assertion, you need the expected and actual, right? So we are, if you see from our step definition, so we are already having the string expected status code, right? So we'll do one thing, we'll typecast it into the integer, because the response, whatever from response whatever we'll get, right, that will be in the form of the integer, that will not be string, right? But whatever we are passing from the feature, those are already always in the form of the string. So here we can while passing it to the actual method call, we can typecast it to the integer and we can pass. Okay, that we'll see later, but here let's say here pass it as int, so expected only expected status code. Okay, so I'm saying expected status code, and now what to write here? So expected status code. So how to get the status code, I already told you, because we have the response object, right? So response dot get body get status code. Okay, so I need this one. Okay, I don't want body now I just want to get the status code. Okay, so response dot get status code. So now this get status code, what I can do, I can store it, right? So I can store it as, let's say, status code equals to this one. So did I define a status code? No. Oh, see, yeah, status code is there, but okay, small s, my bad. Okay, so status code is already there. Okay, status code equals to response dot get status code. Okay, so now we can say I can just verify this one, right? And then on top of that we can do the asset. Okay, so okay, so let's say s out, I'll say response status code equals to, so our response status code, just give like this, and you just give a status code plus. Okay, this will come on the console. Okay, so these things will come on the console, and now asset dot assert true boolean condition. Okay, so we can give some condition. So what condition? uh, so we can verify this status code double equals to expected status code, whatever is our expected status code. Okay, so actual double equals to expected. Okay, fine. So assert dot assert true or assert dot assert equal, we can give status code comma expected status code, that is also fine. Let's see that assert dot assert true. Okay, assert equal. Okay, so assert equal also you can give the two things and we can verify. Okay, so object expected, object actual, this is what it will go, not object, our is int, right? So integer, so you can take integer. Okay, and you can verify, but let's go with this one also, assert dot assert true, status code double is expected status code, or we can say assert equals, sorry, assert equals, so I'll give here like status code, comma, expected status code. So anything out of this you can write. Okay, so let's comment one. Okay, so let's go with this one. So after asserting, what we will do, just print a message yes out. Okay, so let's say expected status code is matching with the actual status code. Okay, so this is what we'll say, expected status code is matching with the actual status code. Okay, so this is done, and there is one more, right? We have to verify the response is in the form of the JSON or not, right? So let's design one more method. So let's say public void verify API response, verify response in JSON format, verify the response format, verify the response format, right? Verify the response format, let's say this one. Okay, verify the response format. So now, okay, so what will be right? So just say response, sorry, so response dot. Okay, so here I can say then, okay, response dot body content type. Okay, content type we can say response dot, let's say then, okay, dot okay, response dot then dot assert that. Okay, so we can directly do the assert that, right? Dot, I can say content type. Okay, so what is my content type? So content type I can say here we have to pass the content type. Okay, so content type dot JSON. Okay, so if you specifically validate the content type is JSON or not, you can do like this, content type dot JSON. Okay, response dot then, okay, assert that content type dot JSON. So that's what I was telling here when we are capturing the response, right? So on the same line you can also give the assertions also, right? So this is given part. Okay, even you can have when and then part also. So then part how we are writing here, right? See, so we can do that also here. So but what I did in the separate method, I am just doing that assertion if the content type is the JSON or not. Okay, so I can do one thing. So s out, so with the help of the s out we can say api response is in JSON format. Okay, API response is in JSON format, and I'll say let's print. Okay, again let's print the response. Okay, so how to print the response? So API response string is, okay, so plus. Okay, so we have a method called response dot, the method is as string or to string, right? So if you as a string, yeah, so if you say response dot as string, it is going to print your response in the form of the string object. Okay, so if you see this is also done and class is complete. So all those four methods we have defined. Okay, so this is setting the user post endpoint and hit the endpoint with get method, and verify response status code and verify the response format. Okay, this is done. So that's all to this session, guys. If you guys are really enjoying my sessions, I'll request you to subscribe to my channel and please share them with your friends and colleagues so that they can also get benefited out of it. And if you have any questions, just put them in the comment section. I'll get back to you as soon as possible. And if you are really enjoying this session, please like the content. Okay, and please do subscribe to my channel and stay tuned to Q automation classes for more exciting cool playlist, right? We have already completed a lot of cool playlist. Also there are upcoming playlists are there, so stay tuned to Q automation classes, guys. Thank you everyone. Bye bye.